Hello, everyone. Welcome to the red carpet. Let's see, there we go. Bear Opera. So, we are hosting a red carpet for the world premiere of the DECAMERON Opera Coalition. And we have a couple guests. Hi, Male. So our first guest is Maria. Let me see if I see her here. Maria. Please, once it's your time, I see Sequoia, request to join because hola Male, there's a lot of people here, so I might not be seeing you. There we go. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, doing well. So where are you right now?
I'm home. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Very nice. Well, hello from New York. So I was telling everyone that this is a red carpet for your brainchild. So since this is a new project and not everyone might be super familiar with how it originated and all the details about the premiere that's happening tonight, could you tell us your position, your involvement? I understand that you're the leader of this whole project.
Well, we have a great team. We're really in this together. And it started actually back in March, which was not all that long ago, although it feels like a million years, right? I was working with the composer Peter Hilliard and librettist Matt Barresi on a different project that had to be postponed. And we had a conversation and I said, well, what do you think opera could look like in 6 months in our current situation? And we were all in like total lockdown at that point. And I got an email the next day and they said, we have an idea. Can you get on a Zoom call? That was the start of it. So with the three of us, there were inspired by the Decameron, the 14th century piece by Giovanni Boccaccio, which happens during the Black Plague. And it's about 10 friends who are sheltering in place together. And they have, they tell stories to each other to pass the time. And I mean, kind of, isn't that what we do in opera anyway? We tell stories to try to make sense of the world. And so that really seemed like something that was really timely, but also timeless. And Peter and Matt's idea was that to bring together a group of different small companies that they had worked with before and reach beyond those as well. And that each of us would commission a brand new one-act opera that would be one of the stories in our new Decameron. So we have 9 company partners, including my company in Pittsburgh, Resonance Works. And each company has a little 10-minute opera that we have completely birthed from commission to production, full video production. And they've been assembled into Tales from a Safe Distance, which is the name of the total work. Peter and Matt wrote a rap story, which is quarantine, and our contemporary quarantine. What do? We do this. We're on Instagram Live and we're on Zoom and all those things. So the 10 friends are on a happy hour together, and our host for the Zoom call is their friend Dino from Italy, who is played by Luca Pizzaroni. We're so excited to have him.
Yes.
He calls on everybody to tell their story, and that's how it all happens. And we have an amazing team of 9 company partners, and you'll get to see 2 of those stories and the opening number of the happy hour tonight.
So just for people who might not know the structure, this is going to be running for 4 Fridays this month.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the 9 stories that are told in the wraparound story are divided up into 4 episodes. Each episode, you'll get 2 or 3 of the stories that
Mm-hmm.
are told, and they're going to premiere on Fridays. So today and the next 3 Fridays, they'll premiere, and then those episodes will be available until the end of the year. So you can watch them again and again and tell your friends about them. And we hope a lot of people will do that.
And people have access to all of these episodes with just one ticket for everything, right?
That's right. It's one $15 ticket and you get access to everything. So we say, get your ticket today and you're all set and for the rest of the year.
Yeah, wonderful. So can you tell us particularly a little bit about your company, Resonant Works, and your team for your episode?
Sure. My company's Resonance Works in Pittsburgh. We are in our 8th season. We've gone completely virtual for the fall season.
Mm-hmm.
And we do a lot of different kinds of musical performances. We began with opera, and there's always opera as a part of our season, but we have an amazing chamber orchestra, a chamber choir, and we do a mix of different kinds of repertoire. And sometimes we like to mix and mingle them on the same program. So there's a season for us kind of runs the gamut and mixes classical music genres, which we really love to do. And actually, the frame story tonight of the happy hour, 4 of our Resonance Works musicians recorded the score for that. So you actually get to hear Resonance Works players on all of the episodes. Our violinist Sandro, Kira, who plays the clarinet, Jesse, our bass player, and James Lesniak, who's a fabulous pianist who works with Pittsburgh Opera.
Wonderful. So, and I would like to know, I don't know, maybe maybe you don't know yet, but so all these episodes are going to be available until the end of the year. So this is kind of the fall project, let's say. Is there something else in the work for this coalition for the future?
That's something that we've been talking about. Once we kind of got our hands dirty in making this happen, we really felt like this could be a really great model for future projects. So there, our wheels are turning. Let's say nothing Good. Completely in the works yet because we're still busy making this one. But one of the greatest things was the partnership of all the companies. We've been meeting weekly now for months, and with all of the producers of the 9 companies and with Peter and Matt, and it's been really, it's been motivating at a time when it's hard to be motivated, and that's been really special. Yeah.
And have you personally met new people, new collaborators through this initiative that you hadn't worked with before?
Absolutely. I would say there's only about half of the company partners that I knew before. And some, I've never met in person, or some I've met in person but have never had a conversation with before. And that's been really exciting. Even in our chapter, so Resonance Works chapter is in the final episode on October 30th. Ours is filmed completely like a graphic novel, so it's completely illustrated, which is super fun. But
wonderful.
The 3 singers involved in that, none of them live here, and only one of them have we worked with before. So it actually was a great opportunity to work with a lot of new people, and they could be anywhere, which was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. And I love that every episode in every company, it looks like everyone did something very unique. Can you tell us a little bit more about this idea of doing it as an illustration for yours?
Sure. Yeah, we thought, the more different the chapters could be, the better the whole piece would be. And somebody joked around once and said, it'd be cool if somebody animated one. And so actually 2 of us kind of did that. You'll see one tonight. Lyric Opera of the North did a live action animation blend, which is super cool and beautiful. I worked with composer Gilda Lyons, who she was her own librettist for this piece, and she was mulling over the idea of it and gave me a call and said, you know, my brother is this amazing illustrator. He's worked for the New York Times, the Smithsonian, Time Magazine, you know, all these places, and they've never really gotten to work together on such a collaboration. So she said, well, what if this was like a graphic novel? So they actually worked hand in hand. She didn't write the piece and then he drew, you know, he made the illustrations. They actually worked together and they both happened at the same time, which was really exciting. And so you'll get that. And it's in a style, but it's a style he's never really worked in before. And it's fun. So our chapter is called Sourdough, Rise Up.
I saw.
So
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And I have one final question before I have to move on to our next guest. Can you tell us a little bit about, I'm sure there were challenges in putting all of this together. Is there a particular story that maybe you don't have enough distance, but that you can now laugh about?
I mean, that's hard. I don't know if I have enough distance to say that. I mean, it's been a challenge.
Right.
We had to make the whole thing up. I mean, we really were looking for, are there any examples of anybody doing anything like this before? And we couldn't find any because there are 10 creative teams on this project, which is really unique. Co-commissions, usually everybody co-commissions one composer, right? So that was really exciting, and also we were just breaking new ground. So I don't know if, you know, things are funny yet, but you know, we were kind of asking a lot of questions and working together, and I'm sure I'll have stories later
for the next one. You need more. I want to know about the bloopers.
Oh, plenty of bloopers. We've all got. You just wait. When we're done actually making the episodes, you'll get the bloopers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Maria. It was so great to hear from you. I can't wait to see all of these episodes. I'm sure everyone, and it's, I mean, what you're saying about having so many teams, I also see it with everyone seems very excited and very involved, and it was great to see everyone sharing, you know, being excited about this live as well. So it looks like you have a great group of people, so it's very exciting.
It's an amazing group, and we're so glad to have you helping us spread the word about it.
Of course, it's my pleasure. I'm gonna bring in Malena, who's our next guest. Thank you so much, Maria. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye. Let's see. So up next is Brittany. So many bloopers. I want to see the bloopers. So our next guest is Malena Dayan, who's been here on our past red carpet. Male, can you request to join? Or let's see, can I add you? Let's see, there she is. Male!
Hola!
Hola! Welcome again. You're the first person to be on the
first repeat
on both red carpets.
I'm so honored.
So last time you were here also for a project with Bear Opera. So today we welcome you as the director of Bear Opera's episode for the Late Walk. Can you tell us a little bit about your episode and your team for this project?
Absolutely. We got the invitation in the proposal of the commission. We had we picked a story from the DECAMERON, and Nick Hochstein-Cox wrote the libretto. It's just very funny, inspired on one of the stories from the DECAMERON, and we formed a team with Nick, with Leticia Ruccolo, the music director, artistic director of Bear Opera, and Kirsten Scott. and we commissioned Jasmine Barnes, an amazing a composer, female composer, and she wrote this very, very funny, beautiful score for the piece. The cast, it's formed of two couples. I don't want to reveal too much of that because it's kind of a mystery
Just give us an
story.
idea.
But there's two couples, one in the present and one not in the present.
Okay.
And the couples are here in the present, Brianna Hunter and Kirsten Scott, and the other ones in the beyond, it's Alicia Fox and Suchan Kim. And it was very interesting because it was the first time that I for Odradek, the last piece I did with Bear Opera, also we had performers in different places, but it was live last time, and we started the process together, and then we had to quarantine. But this, from the beginning, we knew we would never be in the same room.
And in very different parts of the world.
Correct. So Kirsten, it's in London. Leticia was in France at the moment that she was around Europe, but I think she was mainly in France. Suchan, Brianna, and I are here in the East Coast in New York. Alicia is in LA. So we met, we discussed the concept. Everything in Zoom. And I don't know, do you want me to tell you about the process, or should we leave something for?
I'm definitely interested. So you're obviously not new to the use of technology in opera, but I'm interested in, for example, the difference between a project like Odradek, which was live, versus the difference in challenges. I would say this was recorded, but you guys were all spread out. So I'm sure that was a challenge to put together.
So I have some experience. I don't have experience in something exactly like this. And we had lots of, I was thinking now when you were talking before about challenges, we had, my list was, it was really, really fun. And but we knew from the beginning we were doing something new. So we did lots of trial and errors, and gave ourselves time to try and to go back to the board when things didn't work. But we worked with a green screen, so the singers had a piano track and a very detailed action plan for each scene, but they were acting alone at home, and you'll see in the opera they're all together all the time. So they had to act with a green screen like if they were Iron Man in a Marvel movie.
Right. They're telling me here that you are an incredible problem solver. Leticia saying you are on 3 different continents. So that's insane. Even in March,
because I forget we had a designer in Korea too.
And even in March, I think we would have never thought that this would be happening, right? So things are moving quite fast.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very exciting. And you obviously had an amazing team.
The best.
They're here rooting for you. I see them.
I'm representing a very strong group.
Female-led company.
Girls in leadership, absolutely.
Okay, we talked about, so tell me a little bit about this green screen, because I think this is something very new to opera and to opera singers also as actors. This is even a challenge for actors in general, right?
Totally.
To completely have to imagine. It's acting at its best, let's say. You have to completely imagine
everything.
everything. So can you tell us, did you help your performers a little bit with this? Did you prep them? How was that process?
So I apologize to everybody listening to this because I'm talking to Eugenia as my friend, so I'm gonna go very real here. So I live in Inwood. I have a little pop shop that sells fabric for decoration here in my neighborhood. And I just went there and I bought different pieces of fabric in green. And I just taped them to the wall and tried. So you can also go in Amazon and buy a set with a structure and but I think we ended up, some of us, we bought the set in Amazon, but I started just trying it like that. I put a fabric on the wall, tried it. I said, oh, wait, the light is changing. I need to try it again. Oh, wait, it doesn't reflect, trial and error.
Yeah.
So I set everything there. Then I took pictures of what I was doing and I was sharing with the team. You need to shoot, because that's the other thing. I also, every singer doing auditions online or actor will identify that you become your own makeup person, hair person, your costumer, and your sound designer, and your lighting person, and your cameraman. You're doing all at the same time. So I was sending the singers the directions, and you need to do it with this tech specifications. The lighting needs to be like this. It was very, very interesting, very fun.
We have a comment here from Bear Opera. We have the video of Malena doing a screen test, and we will save that for a rainy day. You see, I know because all of this is filmed, so I know there are a lot of bloopers around.
There's plenty of bloopers, more bloopers than anything else.
So yeah, right. That's the big lesson, I guess, that a lot of this, when things are new, there has to be a lot of trial and error. And I'm sure that's also complex when you don't have necessarily that much time, right?
Yes, and if I'm sure all the companies, if anybody's hearing this, they'll identify. When you are in a room and you have 3 weeks of rehearsals, 2 weeks, and you're meeting every day, and the whole team is there, things get solved on the spot. Everybody's there. Now, if you find a problem, you send an email, you schedule a Zoom meeting, and then, everything for every little thing. And of course, sending files, there's all kinds of issues. And, it presented the challenge of being far away from each other. But also, we would have never done the same kind of thing we did if we were live in the theater. All this creativity, these 10 companies working at the same time in this format, trying all of this technology and all this art that we would have gone with a more traditional thing at the theater. But here we had to try something new. So I think we are not only feeding our present creativity, but we are feeding the future of opera. All of these things now they are tools we have that we will use.
Yeah, now you know how to do, exactly. Now we know how to do these things, and and the better we get, also, like, you can do it on limited budgets, on limited time. I'm interested in knowing a little bit what the timeline was like, how much time you had to get this done, how much time was given to the composer, the librettist, to you.
Everything was measured in days. But it was, I have to say, chapeau to the coalition and Kirsten, of course. But it was really well organized. So we had, from the day one, a timeline, and the timeline was, everybody arrived a couple of days early. So really everything started with the libretto. Nick presented a very clear idea, finished idea that we bounced with everybody in the leadership at the coalition, and then the composer had, I mean, Leticia, if you're there, you may correct me, but I think she worked in like 3 weeks, in the vicinity of 3 weeks.
She says basically no time.
Yeah, it's true, but yeah, but it was well organized. I don't feel, oh, Nick, yay, Nick. I don't have a feeling of we were super rushed. I mean, everybody presented their work. We were all,
yeah.
It was well organized, but it's everything in weeks. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, Jasmine will correct me if it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks, if it was 3 weeks and a half, but it was around that time that she had to put the whole thing together. Then the singers had around 2-3 weeks they received the material, they learned the material, they memorized the material, and then they filmed. You know, everything was, yeah, so maybe they had a couple of weeks.
Right,
They'll correct me. And then for us to put all of that together, we also had an amazing bassoonist, Alison Nicotera. So,
oh, I know Alison!
Oh, nice! She was
love
wonderful.
Alison. She's fantastic, yes.
So all of that, I mean, that's what comes to our territory, Sangmin and I. It's putting all those layers together, right? The folk singers, the pianist, the bassoonist, and then creating this fantasy world with the material they sent.
Right.
And,
right. But it goes to show that amazing things can happen when you have a plan, very organized schedule with people who meet those demands, right? And when there's teamwork, and obviously in the project as a whole, everyone
super well organized
was doing their part, you know, and that's why it's successful. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's right.
Leticia said she wrote it in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, and it's a beautiful score. You'll see, Leticia will identify with me. We all memorized it at this point. Dream with it. It's really beautiful score. Really beautiful. And it's very funny, but also kind of a magic story.
So people can watch this episode tonight.
Yes.
Very well. So
tonight is our opening.
Tonight is your opening. I can't wait to watch all of this. The DSC was so well. Bear Opera says very organized. The music is very catchy. Amazing. So you can watch this episode tonight. And now I have to move on to my next guest.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Malena, for your time.
Thank you, querida. Gracias.
And virtual toys. I don't know anymore because it doesn't make a change.
But it's okay. I receive it.
You receive the energy.
Yes, totally. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Ciao, hermosa. Ciao.
Ciao. All right. So our next guest from Chicago Fringe.
Do I need to disconnect or you disconnect me?
I think so. So I can bring, yes.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Let's see. All right. So let me find my next guest. Let's see. There he is. Connecting. Oh, there he is. Hello.
Hello. KF Jacques here.
Welcome.
I think that's better. Hold on.
Oh, you look amazing.
Why, thank you. I heard there was a red carpet celebration, so I figured.
Yes. Well, welcome. I'm going to pronounce your name and you're going to tell me if it's okay. I'm saying it correctly.
Yep.
KF Jacques.
Exactly.
Great.
You got it. KF Jacques. Perfect.
I got it.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. So you are representing Chicago Fringe
Yes.
Opera, correct?
Yes. Small town.
So, and your episode is Corsair.
Yeah, Corsair. Yeah, that's the name of
Yes.
it.
And this episode is premieres on the fourth weekend on October 30th, correct?
Correct. Yeah. It's going to be
Mhm.
October 30th, and we were going for like a cinematic flavor. You know, it's not often that we opera singers get to get into that cinematic side of everything. So we kind of went crazy. We did a lot, but
I
it was
love it.
definitely
I
worth
love it. So is this the first time you work with Chicago Fringe, or how did you get involved in this project?
So I previously worked in a partnership with Chicago Fringe for a hip hop opera production called the Rosina Project.
Mm-hmm.
I'm formally trained. I have a master's degree in voice performance from Roosevelt University, and I sang opera for a while, and I was also doing beats and stuff like that. So eventually I started combining the beats with the opera, and that kind of became my thing, where I would just combine this opera with hip hop. I coined the term operatronic, and just through combining these things, my network sort of grew. It grew into this Chicago thing called the Rosina Project, where we do a hip hop Barber of Seville, and that branched out into the one of the directors for Chicago Fringe Opera, George Cedarquist, invited me to compose for this DECAMERON project. So that's how I got involved.
Amazing. So you composed, directed, and wrote the libretto, correct?
So I composed and wrote the libretto,
Uh-huh.
and I was lucky enough to have George actually direct the thing. So
Oh, wonderful.
he directed it. We had wonderful crew and cast. I could also include my very good friend Takesha Mache Kizart on our shoot, and I got to compose a duet for her and myself, and yeah, I just feel very lucky to be involved in this thing. So it's gonna be
you perform on the episode.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the main focus of our episode, we're doing a part of Decameron where it's based off of a seafarer or a corsair, a merchant on the seas, if you will. But we decided to update it to a Chicago city theme, and so we've encompassed a lot of aerial drone views of Chicago and the city and the streets. The lakefront, which is like the gem of Chicago, that's the best part of our city. And we just got to, and also I'm really proud. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, that we got to film heavily on the south side of Chicago in all the most beautiful parts of the south side. So we really got to showcase where I am from, and so that was a big deal for me. So yeah, the story is about a merchant who goes out. He wants to double his wealth, and it's funny because I think that's kind of appropriate. Apparently, there's a big boom with the stock market because people are sort of home trying to trying their luck at learning the stock market and mastering it.
Yeah.
I don't know who those people are, but it might be me. You never know. Might have been doing that today, actually. But so it was just a case study. I was just studying my character, really.
Right.
So he says, so this character says, and this is how it's written in the original from the 14th century. He says, oh, he's already wealthy, and he says, I want to double my wealth. And he goes out to double his wealth. He's not successful. And we kind of figure out how he reacts to this environment that's sort of pushing against him the whole time as he goes out to be greedy, so to speak. So, so then you'll see how he fares, what goes on, what the tribulations are, and how he fares. And we've compressed it all into a 10-minute ball.
Yes, that's definitely a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Did you have more? You wanted it to be longer?
Of course. I was writing epic, epic scores and all that stuff, trying to get everything, in there. But I knew from the beginning that I had to write more and truncate. That was the only way that I could tell the full story. And I also didn't want to, I honestly, as an artist, I went back and forth because I was like, maybe I wrote too much, or maybe I shouldn't, maybe I shouldn't have written so much and things like that. But then I realized that, if it was like 2 or 3 songs for 10 minutes, like really who's going to, so I thought maybe I would change it up a lot. So I used my operatronic style. So there's beats, there's opera, and there's rap. So all of those things are thrown in there. And we used a total of 7 different beats. So it really changes up, and it's really like this sort of like, there's a lot of brass. So it's like an epic hip hop operatic journey. And it all happens in 10 minutes, but you really do feel like you've gone somewhere. And I can't take all the credit for that. I can take the musical credit, the oral credit for it, but the crew is really who brought this thing to life. I gotta send a shout out to my guy Rick Schuler and Brad Caleb Lee for doing the visuals, all the editing that came into it with Rick and Brad. I mean, they were really just unbelievable. So we came up with a really good product, and I think everyone's going to love it.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. So you said you really went very cinematic and all out with it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So we're lucky because Chicago has all these visual, this eye candy, if you will. So we had the scenery, we had the backdrop, and we could just use everything that was in our surroundings. The initial idea that we were going for was like this this merchant meets sort of like this Bruce Wayne sort of Dark Knight sort of situation. So I mean, we fully went there. Okay, like if you see there's actually a trailer that's up on my Insta, so you guys can check that out.
Great.
And we try to make it so that it can seamlessly merge from the DECAMERON Coalition story into that, and then back out into the finale. So it's going to be a cool way to sort of end things with a bang, if you will, so we just want to make sure that we come in strong. So it's actually going to be a very strong piece. It's not very comedic. I mean, there's some moments that are very ironic, and it's not heavy, but it's more dramatic, and it's just something that's really dear to my heart. I think people are going to love it. I think it really does touch people. It reaches out to people, everyone that's seen it so far. So
amazing. So who has seen it so far?
Okay. So my wife has seen it so far.
Oh, yes.
And she's my toughest critic, actually. So she really felt like it was my best work to date. My brother is another tough critic, so he's seen it, and he really thought it was just on a whole nother level. Let's see, I'm trying to think who else has seen. So everyone else has seen the trailer, and the trailer has some good bits in there. There's some really dope shots. I actually edited the trailer myself, and I was trying not to show everything because it's only a 10-minute production. But I made a 30-second trailer, and I got some really good shots in there, but I am happy to say those are not all the good shots. Good. We definitely got some really cool shots in the final. So there's still a lot to look forward to. So
is this your first experience in film, or was this something you had thought of doing? Is this something you already had some experience with?
It's funny that you asked that, because I've never done a film with let me think about what I'm saying here. But I've never really done a film where there was so much artistic input. So I have a catalog of music videos and stuff like that, and most of my videos, my music videos are pretty cinematic. It's usually me and my wife working on those things, and occasionally we've had a crew working on it. But this, for the time length, the subject matter, the commission, for all those things, it's a first. So it makes it really different. It makes it seem like a different perspective altogether. So, you know, you hear my hesitation in the answer because, yeah, I've done film, I've done cinematic things before, but I've never done it on scale. So this is a whole nother level for me.
Yeah. So was everyone in your team in Chicago, and were you able to work together in person?
Most of us were in Chicago. Brad Caleb Lee is in Wales, and he's the only one that wasn't in Chicago. And then everyone else, you know, we were working under the gun. I think we might have had a month or something to put everything mostly together, most of the music, and then get the shots ready. And then we did shooting outside of that month. But it was definitely a wild ride. And I don't know if we could have done it if everyone wasn't in the city, but I'm also glad. And Brad is I mean, really, he's a Chicago guy. He does all the visuals for a few of the companies that I've come across here. So I know that that he kind of knew the perspective we were coming from, and everyone else. I mean, it really does represent the best of our city. So I'm really proud that everyone's here.
I can't wait to watch it. We did get a bunch of messages while you were talking. Let me go back. I know.
Where am I?
Luca Pisaroni. I'm excited to be part of this awesome project. One so proud of the Chicago Fringe team. This episode sounds incredible. Oh, here, we've seen it and it is dope. Really special. Amazing. The drone shots.
Oh, yeah, I think Matt Brazy might have seen it, and I'm pretty in the ether out have actually seen the whole thing. So,
the people behind the whole project. Yeah.
Yes. I appreciate all the love. I really appreciate you guys, and please check out my page for the little teasers and stuff like that. I think I got another trailer in me. I was
gonna ask, are you gonna, because we have to wait until October 30th. Do you have another teaser?
I get as much of a kick out of doing that stuff as I do the final production. Like I'm the guy that'll sit there and turn on YouTube, watch the trailer, like the trailer channel or whatever, where they'll just show movie trailers and all that stuff. It's exciting. I mean, you know, I love the dramatic music and like the moments. So yeah, you'll see another one. There'll be another one up soon.
Amazing. Well, everyone stay tuned, and definitely, I mean, tune in for all the episodes, but tune in for this one, which will be on October 30th. Thank you so much for your time, for being here, for answering our questions. I have to move on to...
I just want to send a quick shout out to Peter and Matt, because I didn't get it. I haven't had a chance. We've been literally running like chickens with our heads cut off. And I want to send a shout out to them for putting this thing together, but also the music that I was performing on the frame, which is the parts that come between the pieces. I loved it, and I just want to keep it simple and straight to the point. It was fantastic, and I had a good time. So you all will. It's not just, you know, the 30th that's coming up that's on my mind. I'm looking forward to
to the premiere tonight. And okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the shout outs. Thank you to everyone who's writing in. I have to go find my next guest.
Bye,
Thank
all.
you. Bye. Thank you.
My pleasure. Enjoy.
All right. So our fourth and final guest. Oh, there she is, Sequoia. Let's see. Thank you guys for all the. Oh,
Hi.
hello.
Hello, hello.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So, Sequoia
Hawk, like the bird.
Hawk. Sequoia Hawk. Amazing. I love this name.
Thank you.
So, where are you joining us from?
Yeah, I'm in my apartment in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. So, you are the director of The Sky Where You Are.
Yes.
Can you tell us, this was a collaboration, well, the company is an opera theater,
Mm-hmm.
and this was a collaboration with the organization Women's Advocates. Could you tell us a little bit about this collaboration and if this was envisioned this way since the beginning or if this came later?
Yeah. So the piece is The Sky Where You Are. It will premiere October 23rd. The libretto was by Jenny O'Connell and the composer was Maria Thompson Corley. And really the piece is about domestic violence and domestic violence awareness. And so I know Kelly Turpin, the artistic director of an opera theater, got the call from the DECAMERON and was like, okay, we have this opportunity to make a piece. And we decided to not make a piece based off the original DECAMERON. We decided to make our own opera and talking about an issue that's facing a lot of women right now, which is domestic violence. And so we partnered with Women's Advocates, which is actually the first domestic violence shelter in the nation here in St. Paul, Minnesota. And so we knew this was a perfect opportunity to work with local communities, local resources and make a project of it. And so we worked with Brennison Wheeler of Women's Advocates to create a real and true story about women experiencing domestic violence. And we hope that this piece itself is a tool and a resource for women experiencing domestic violence to know that we believe you, we believe your story, we believe your experiences, and we hope to help. But also, if you ended up being someone who got a call from a friend or a family member saying that they experienced domestic violence, that maybe that using these resources that you would be able to help them. So we're really hoping to spread the awareness, especially now that October is National Domestic Awareness Month, that it's a perfect time for this, episode to air and the story to be told. And we're hoping to just continue that spread and awareness. And during COVID, we find ourselves more at home and domestic violence is actually happening far more often than you think it is. And so the ability to spread that awareness was really at the forefront of always creating this story.
So what is the episode like? How you created a story from scratch. How does it connect to this idea of spreading awareness without being a documentary style?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so Jenny O'Connell, the librettist, worked with Brennison Wheeler to sort of figure out how to create a story to spread awareness and sort of tell these two women's stories. And so the piece itself follows two characters, Raina and Joe, who are played by Catherine Hentley and Anna Hashizume, respectively. And it's, Raina and Joe are lifelong friends, and Raina calls Joe over the phone to sort of tell her, hey, my husband has been abusing me and I'm thinking about leaving. And so the piece follows this conversation between them two over the phone of Raina telling her story about how her husband's abusing her and she's thinking of leaving and she's worried about her child and herself. And we also get Joe's point of view of being the person on the other line of the phone, reacting to her friend telling this horrible story. And really it's sort of about being Joe. If you were someone who was Joe and you got that phone call, how would you react? So a lot of it was thinking about, what would Joe do? What would she say? And I think as a director myself, I really tried to put myself in Joe's shoes of, okay, well, if I had a friend, what would I do? What would I say? I would try to help all these things. And actually in the piece, it's quite beautiful because Raina herself, the person experiencing the domestic violence, has actually a lot of knowledge herself. She knows to be safe. She knows her husband might be watching her phone calls, or she actually hides in the bathroom to do this phone call that you'll see because she knows that that's maybe the only safe place to be. And so both characters are quite knowledgeable about this topic, but it's still almost not enough. And there's always more to learn, right? And so we really tried portray these characters as someone that you would know, your family, your friends, and really be able to hopefully in the end learn something from this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's great what you're bringing up, that it's for the victims to learn what they can do about their situation, but also the people around them to see how they can help them, because a lot of times people just don't know. So this is very important. And I'm interested to, since there is this collaboration with this external organization, how are they promoting this? Are they also going to be sharing this episode in their own channels and websites and connections?
Yeah, I think our partnership really stemmed from being able to create the accurate language. We have an opera theater on their website. We actually worked with them and women's advocates to create sort of a resource page. So you're able to go onto an opera theater's website and sort of know, at least as a first step, of where you can go. And it brings you also to women's advocates page. And we have a couple links in phone numbers at the end of our piece, actually, that you could screenshot or keep on your phone for any of those like calls that might happen to you. And I know that women's advocates on their website is actually promoting the piece of, hey, tune in, get your ticket and watch this piece, because it's really informational. And I think the really cool part about working with them is it's very accurate information. And we really tried to tell like true and accurate stories around this. And I think it really came through. And I know Brenison Wheeler and women's advocates are very, very happy and very proud that such a large, nationwide opera company and DECAMERON and all of us are being able to spread this awareness, because not everyone's talking about these issues.
Yeah. And this would be, even if maybe it wasn't in the original DECAMERON, it is very relevant to today's DECAMERON, correct? And this pandemic and the issues that we are facing with this pandemic. So can you, without revealing, it's hard because I know you guys don't want to reveal too much, but without revealing too much, can you tell us a little bit about your cast and this piece and in its structure, in its music?
Yeah, it's such a beautiful piece. I cannot wait for everyone to see it on October 23rd. So like I said, the libretto was written by Jenny O'Connell and the composition was written by Maria Thompson-Corley. And I mean, they wrote those things in record time. I mean, Jenny had less than a week to write the libretto, and Maria didn't take that much longer as well. And neither of them had written for opera before. And so I was sort of shook myself, being someone I've actually never directed opera either. My background is in film and theater. And so all of us were sort of new to this form, this content. And I think all three of us bringing our minds together was such a beautiful moment. And we also then got to work with Elise Parker, who was our violinist, and Maria actually wrote the composition, played piano. And then our singers were Catherine Hentley and Anna Hashizume. And we also have the male voice in there of Justin Spencer a little bit. He has a couple measures, but Maria really got him to sing some really hard stuff in those couple measures. So check out for that. And because of COVID and everything, the musicians and the singers were never in the same room. So we actually brought in Chris Foss, who was an amazing sound engineer, and he layered everybody together, and it sounds beautiful. And I just feel so lucky. I know Kelly Turpin, from the local scene of St. Paul in Minnesota. We worked at a theater together for a little while, and so she called me and said, hey, do you want to direct this opera? And I was like, I don't direct opera.
Now you do.
Now I do, apparently. And she was like, I trust you. And I was like, well, I really trust you. And it's an amazing team. It was almost a full woman cast and crew and team. And so I think that's amazing to be able to tell a story with women, telling the story behind the scenes for women. And I think it's just a beautiful opera. And we actually shot it really, I was really brave with the shooting. We shot it in one continuous take. And so I really was interested in this idea of they're on a phone call for 11 minutes. That's basically the whole piece. And so I really wanted you as an audience to stay with the characters for that entire 11 minutes. So it's one continuous shot of both the women talking. It's spliced sort of in a side-by-side screen. And we're able to really get almost every reaction that Joe and Reina are giving to each other. Like we're actually on the phone call as one of the friends of them, which was really important to me to be able to keep true to the story, keep true to the narrative. So I really hope that people tune in because it's really beautiful. The music, the lyrics, the singing is just gorgeous. And I just found myself really listening to the music, and not being a part of opera, I realized that how much the music really tells the story without even needing of words. And that was something I very much learned not having done opera before. And I'm really interested in it as a storytelling device. So it's really, I really hope everyone tunes in.
I'm so happy to hear that. It's always so interesting to hear the perspective of someone who's new to opera, but very seasoned in the arts, you know, and how it's not that different. And I think that's what I really appreciate about this project is that in, you know, even if we might have been like forced to this medium, you know, it's bringing together a lot of artists of different disciplines into building this that's, you know, it's not just opera anymore. It's not just film. It's everything. And yeah, and like Maria was saying at the beginning, you know, it's pushed everyone's creativity and it's really fantastic. And so welcome to the opera world.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was talking to Kelly and I was like, so anything else that you want to do? Because now I feel like I have the opera bug.
Right.
Like yeah, I know. So somebody, but no, yeah, I've worked with musical theater and theater and things, but opera is very special. I feel like it has a nuance to storytelling that I feel like not a lot of people know about, or I mean, I'm sure the opera people are like, yes, I know, but I feel like people who are not part of opera sort of see it as something inaccessible or something that they can't join into. And now I'm like, wow, art is for everybody, and so is opera.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy to hear you say this because it's right. You just need to be exposed to it, right? And participate in it, and then the bug bites you.
Yeah, and I think an opera theater is amazing because they're opening those opportunities for people in the Twin Cities who maybe not have been seen in operas more times or whatnot. And I think that's why I feel so special with an opera theater, is because they allowed me to come in, someone who's never done opera, to help them make this beautiful piece. And I think that's what they're continuing doing with all of their work.
Amazing. Well, I can't wait to see it. So this episode premieres which Friday?
The 23rd.
The 23rd. Okay, great. So people mark calendar. I mean, everyone should be glued to the screen every Friday for the rest of the month. That's
I'm about to go watch the one right now. So
yes. So we have, before we have to go, before Instagram kicks us out, there's been a lot of messages here. Let's see, such an important piece. We love, an opera theater is saying, we love our partnership with women's advocates. Someone is saying, I'm sure it was an issue in the 14th century too. I am sure that is true. We were so lucky to have Sequoia. They're brilliant. Sequoia is such a boss.
Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful. Oh my God, this is so exciting. Yes, it is. Well, unfortunately, this is the end of the red carpet. But thank you so much for joining us. To everyone who was on the chat commenting, I love seeing all the comments. I think it should be clear by now how you get your ticket, how you see all these episodes. But if it's not, you can head to @DECAMERON Opera Coalition. Correct. That is the DECAMERON Opera Coalition. You can check the website. You can also check all the accounts from all the participating opera companies. Everyone's been sharing the information. So we'll see you there. And thank you so much for joining me and for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a good one. Enjoy the operas, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy. Bye.